What's up, Soul Family? Coming at you with another collective reading. If you've been looking for messages from your angels, ancestors, guides, even if they might be unconventional, I think we can draw knowledge and inspiration from all aspects of creation. If you are looking for a one-on-one reading, you can do so by booking with me in the link in the bio or by directly messaging me. The first reading is $20 for the first 20 minutes, and you can ask whatever you want, or I can pull and see what comes out. And if it doesn't resonate, then I'll simply refund you. Now, that being said, let's jump right in. Alright, as always, let's start with like 2 or 3 tea leaves. I feel like if I pull too many, then they kind of almost like hijack the reading. Well, I guess you can't really hijack a reading, but I like to be able to pull both tarot and oracle cards. So the first one we have Sun, which is happiness and well-being. Then we have Bow, which is you are highly thought of. And then we have August again, which is interesting. There are 200 tea leaves, right? And I've shuffled and I shuffle and I shuffle, and this is the second reading in a row. So it looks like that whoever's watching these 2 readings, maybe you're just even watching this beginning part, then for whatever reason, that could just be the confirmation that you need, that something's going to happen positively for you in August. Let me see. Oops, I didn't just toss those like that. Then I'm using the Sonic deck. So, alright, cool. So first off, we have the Page of Wands. So whatever you're doing, I think continue to, like, learn. So the Page of Wands usually has a lot to do with, like, learning, hobbies, skills, gifts, or being open to learning things, or being open to kind of, like, experiences that might be kind of expansive in a certain way. So I think for whatever reason, the Page of Wands is pointing towards continuing to hone in, learn, or practice, like, some kind of hobby or skill, and be okay at, like, not necessarily being the most proficient person like as you are starting. Sometimes that's just how you have to start. Everybody starts off as a prodigy. And then we have the King of Wands too. So sometimes, and maybe you're even just somebody who, because sometimes when the Page of Wands and the King of Wands will come out, like it makes me think of somebody who might be like, maybe you're already really good at certain skills, and maybe you're just like fine-tuning or learning like different parts of that skill, or expanding on skills that you already know, or even continuing to expand the knowledge that you have within like whatever skill set that you're already going through. Oops. Just like threw that one across the room. So then with the Two of Cups, maybe you are working with another person on this. Maybe it's pointing towards like, or maybe it's just the energy of, okay, so the Two of Cups and the Page of Wands to the King of Wands makes me think that, especially with the prior cards being all about like joy and happiness, maybe there are 2 of you guys who are like on this journey together, and maybe both of you guys are like embarking on like working on some kind of project, or learning a hobby together, or learning some kind of craft. That, or maybe the Two of Cups is simply pointing towards like maybe you are the King of Wands who is like, trying to be the person who is kind of like stepping out and being the confident one, trying to take care of all these different things. And maybe in addition to you having to be that role, maybe the Two of Cups is pointing towards like you having support of your partner, or having a really like the partner that you have like seeing like the vision that you do and actually being eye to eye. Or maybe it's just even a friend. Sometimes the Two of Cups isn't romantic. It could be just like a friend who has a similar vision as you for like whatever goal or hobby or intention that you're working towards. So I think a lot just fell. Let me grab like these 2 on top, and I'll put the rest down. Actually, I'll take all 4. It seems kind of relevant, because we have the Sun card that came out again, the 6 of Swords, 10 of Pentacles, we have the Devil card, and then we have the Ace of Wands. So I feel like this is definitely the energy of there being a lot of positivity heading your way. There being a lot of good things. There even being like, maybe there's like a creative spark. So maybe like while you're in this like creative mode, and like while you're working, and while you're kind of like putting efforts towards, like, and when I say creative, you could even just be doing like, you could be creating a brand. You could be working on like products. You could be doing pretty much anything in that realm. And so I'd like to think that you have like certain fears and certain limiting beliefs and certain projections that you have as far as like how things might go, your capabilities, even like your potential. And I think with the Sun card, it's like you're going to be proven wrong again and again and again and again and again in like the most positive ways. I think it's going to be an energy of like you getting like constant like little bursts of like that fire that keeps you ignited towards like whatever goal you have. And maybe there's gonna be times like where you might feel like a little bit frustrated. You might feel kind of like there is like not a lot of agency to move within whatever you're trying to work towards. But I think as well you're gonna continue to have the path like be revealed for you. And like with the Ten of Pentacles, like whatever you're working on, you're building the foundations for something that's going to be very stable and actually be beneficial to you in the longer run. It's really just a matter of trusting that you're taking those proper steps and getting to that point essentially. And I'd like to say, especially with the card prior saying that August is monumental or important, then maybe like within this month, like you're heading out of like that struggle energy or that energy that hasn't been too positive, the energy that's been kind of like tumultuous as you're trying to navigate to better. So maybe August is like the month that's going to be that turning point because the Six of Swords points towards like leaving that struggle behind and actively going into better. So let's look at the bottom of the deck and we'll go from there. And that's also the thing too with the King of Wands. Like there's the energy of like when you are kind of stepping into the role of being a creator and stepping into the role of being like your most authentic self, sometimes the path isn't always that easy, and sometimes you have to be the person kind of like, you know, take on the challenge head on. And the King of Wands is somebody who I'd like to think because of them just being like it's like they're almost like I wouldn't say natural born leader, but they're a visionary. They have like their mind on like the prize. They have their mind on the the potential expansion and where things can go. So I think it's definitely a call to continue to keep your vision focused and to keep your mind aligned with like what your goal is. And then we have the Queen of Wands. So maybe again it could be both you guys with both the King and Queen of Wands coming out. I think it's an energy of it could be like a couple who are both you guys are like working towards trying to build a brand or build a product or build a company. And if it's just one person, then maybe you're being called to both embody the King and Queen of Wands, which is yes, the visionary, yes, the leader, yes, the person who's able to like delegate tasks and get things done by stepping into the role of like being that person who is taking charge of things, but maybe you're also meant to then lead by example by embodying like your most authentic and best self. Maybe that also in turn helps bring in like whatever your goal is or helps round out whatever your projects are. So maybe it's a combination of yeah, being the leader, but then also being the person who is leading by example in that exact same breath. But either way, peace and blessings. I'll catch you guys in the next reading.